guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Carl Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal live stream, the Portuguese breakfast show. Don't Google it. Thunder's here. Bom dia, alegria, Gumpers. Hello, mate. Oh, no, it's turning into a thing, isn't it? We need a hashtag for this, Thunder. Day 251, no driver's license. Oh, dear. Can someone please tell me when we'll be able to eat inside a restaurant without having to show papers? Maybe we'll have a little delve into the morning news this morning and see if there's any indication on that. I think the Portuguese government and politicians at the moment have got one thing on their mind, which is probably first and foremost the upcoming election, and anything they do with the pandemic will probably be seen through that lens, or that optic. That's a popular word, isn't it now, used in news and politics. So perhaps we will find out. Maybe we won't. Maybe there'll be some uncertainty until the end of the month when the election takes place, Thunder, but we'll do our best. And if anybody does know and can help Thunder either with the driving license issue or eating in or out of restaurants, whether restrictions will be relaxed soon, do let us know. Mummy's Boo is here. It's been a while since I said hello. How are you and family, Carl? Hope you're having an awesome 2022. We are actually very nice. Mother's over at the moment, staying here, and that promised feature. Ask Carl's mum anything. Why don't you prime her with a few questions now? And yes, some of you will have seen the bumps on my forehead. Look at that. Ooh, on the capacious forehead. Yes, a children's playground injury with the kids on Saturday. And just be careful. Don't show off in children's playgrounds. It's not a good look. And don't come, well, kind of face to face with cold metal at the end of the zip wire, as I did. It's turning into quite a nice... Shall I elaborate it into a tattoo or something? What could that be elaborated into as a tattoo? Clean answers, please, this morning. I hope Gilda will have some good news for us today on the Golden Visa. Well, let's see. She's with us from just after 9, of course, and there's a few things I'd like to talk to Gilda about. You talk about the Golden Visa there, Mommy's Boo. Please tell us more about Mommy's Boo Media, won't you? Yes, Golden Visa, very popular in Madeira. That's something we might look at before she gets here and ask her, what's the upside and what's the downside of that for Portugal for the long term? Because there's always two sides to everything, aren't there? And we can have a look at that objectively. My family continues MBM. My family needs someone who can represent us in our real estate investment in Portugal since we're not on the ground. Can this beautiful community help us, please? Yeah, well, Gilda can help you with that. And there are other people in our community who I'm sure can. Have you asked that question on the forum? And that's quite a good place to initiate a conversation and get on the ground help, as you're asking. The key phrase being on the ground. Lots of us are here in Portugal and connect via the Expats Portugal community, expatsportugal.com/community. Good place to ask the question. James is here. What have you been up to, James? Asking me for certain kinds of pictures. Bom dia, Gumpers. Ultra feliz e linda segunda em Portugal a todos. So wishing you a happy Monday. Is it Blue Monday this morning? Is that terrible thing where the media get you to focus on what a terrible... It's like the down point of the year, statistically. But we don't have to go with that, do we? We'll make it what we want it to be. Bon dia todos from Ian. Coach Turner, everybody. Look at this. Back to grandchild grappling on Mondays. Don't do what I did. Don't show off in the playground, Coach Turner. Although I suspect you are that kind of guy who might jump onto the zip wire like I did on Saturday, only to find myself... injured and screaming out. It's not a good look when you scream out and alarm the children in the playground. But that was me on Saturday. Don't let that be you, Coach. In spite of that, I'm sure you'll have a great day. Well, we miss you already. If you're watching this on the replay, Coach Turner, have a great day with the grandkids. Rosemary's here as well. Bon dia from Porto this morning. How about a picture from you, Rosemary Baker? 913-590-303 if you want to ever send us anything that we can share on the screen. I've got a couple of things for you this morning. Part of a great weekend here on the Silver Coast. There you go. 351 is the national code, of course, if you're not in the country. And then 913-590-303. Do drop me a line, a pic, a video, as you wish. And Deagle's here. Bon dia, Carl. 33 days, 32 sleeps. Fingers crossed we're in Portugal and Albufeira for some winter sunshine. You absolutely deserve it, Deagle. So, yeah, fingers crossed with you. I think you've had one delay already, have you not, with that? Hopefully no more. And that things are changing and lifting and freeing and opening up. Going back to Thunderduck's inquiry earlier on with the showing of the papers, etc. Look who's here as well in the comments this morning. Tonight, we've got an introduction to permaculture with Cindy B. More and more people are hearing this word permaculture, I think. It's been around, I would say, for 20 or 30 years, maybe longer. And it's a gardening philosophy, a horticultural, agricultural philosophy. Cindy B from our community, she's such a talented woman. She has all sorts of fabulous interests, which certainly chime with mine, and she'll be with us tonight on the gardening Q&A. Did you know from 6 or 6:15 we go on air? We have a meeting beforehand with the Fresh Air team and head gardener Lee McGrady, and then at 6:15 we're on with a Q&A. And this week's special guest, as you can see there, Introduction to Permaculture with Cindy B. You know her from the forum and hosting the solo group in the living room there on the forum. She's with us tonight, a Renaissance woman talking about her interest in permaculture. And I think it's fair to say the official launch of the 6-part course that she's running now that she's here in Portugal. You will not regret it if you've gone there. If you've got any kind of interest in gardening, horticulture, agriculture, or living in a new, sustainable way, she's your woman, and she'll tell us more about that tonight. And she is saying, Bon dia, alegria gumpas, from a cloudy, San Martino de Porto. I had the rain on my face this morning. It's very refreshing, actually, very nice to be out with the dogs this morning and to feel the cold, the fresh air. Not cold, is it really, compared to what some of you have to put up with, but cold, misty air on me, fresh, misty air on my face this morning. Loved it. And that's down to the clouds you're reporting on there, Cindy. And look at you in your picture there. And that's the cornucopia, the abundance of nature that permaculture, I would say, is directly connected with. So do join us tonight, 6:15. Set a reminder up. It's already published up on YouTube as a future feature. So you can set an alarm bell to remind you to join us if you like, which you can do. Subscribe, please, and you can set reminders if you missed the show. YouTube's an amazing bit of technology. Second biggest search engine in the world. Isn't it amazing that Google owned them both? Number 1 and number 2. I don't know what number 3 is. Number 3, what would be number 3? It probably won't be an obvious search engine. It'll be probably an inside feature of a big platform. Facebook's probably the 3rd biggest search engine, isn't it, after Google and YouTube? Don't quote me on that. Don't want to be sharing fake news, do we? Having mentioned Facebook there. Do the two barely go in a sentence together. Excited for you, Deagle, says James. And thanks, James, says Deagle. Lost out 10 days in October. Both the Minister of Home Affairs and I were positive. And what was your experience of it, Deagle? Did we talk about that at the time? What kind of experience did you have? Or was it just a positive test and not too much on the symptoms and sickness side? Can't remember now. Profulit Cole is here. I am interested in immigrating to Portugal on the D7 visa. Please guide me to some reliable lawyer for a smooth process. I'm from India. Well, look no further. Stay tuned. About 20 minutes time, we will have... just seen your tattoo idea, Thunder. 20 minutes or so, we will have the wonderful Gilda Pereira from Assessoria Imigrant, the migration agency. 98% success rate with such things. Bon dia todos from Antonio F. Hua! This is Sparta! With his fantastic YouTube picture there, the Lusitanian warrior, who is Antonio F. Great to have you here, Antonio, this morning. Brain vax here. I'm not having that tattooed on the forehead. But thank you for the suggestion to get the ball rolling there. And Chris is here. Hola, bon dia. Jazz funk track of the day, Fajr do Dia, is Ntume's Juicy Fruit. Yes, we know that either in its original form or was it who mixed that up? The Notorious B.I.G. Sad news. A sad day for I see. A sad day because the news broke overnight that James Mtume has died at the age of 75, regularly sampled by other R&B, worked with Miles Davis, did James Mtume. An often amazing backstory with the titans of the R&B world, right? So another one lost there. At the, I mean, that's young by today's standards, isn't it? 75, and sad to see James Mtume go. And of course, you can immortalize your memory and fondness for the man listening to Juicy Fruit later on today. Tune. Thank you very much for that, Chris. Carl, is there any restriction on voting, i.e., online or postal, due to the pandemic, or is it just on the day? Scientists have been saying. I'm sorry to introduce a sentence like that. It's so loose and vapid, isn't it, to say it like that? But I think I'm lifting a quote from one of the papers. Some scientists, let's say that, or some people calling themselves scientists, or some people who other people are calling scientists, are asking that people don't go out and vote. I don't think the politicians are going to put up with that. We'll go to that news item so that you know a bit more, Deagle. Bon dia to all from Gary Orgles there. Hello, mate. You look like an 80s children's presenter in that lovely picture of yours there. Where can I get one of those? Day 10 of 2022 and 15 minutes completed every day. Yes! You did it in. Actually, you probably didn't. Well, you would have done your training in Portuguese there, but not many opportunities to speak Portuguese, I suspect, in Belfast. Or am I wrong? I may well be wrong. But you will be able to do it in Portuguese soon, and I'm muito bem for you, Diego. Well done, mate. Everyone else seems to have disappeared when it comes to the mention of practicing Portuguese. How's everybody doing this year with their Portuguese? St. Catherine is here as well. Bon dia, I hope your forehead has recovered. Slightly bruised, no big deal. It really is fine. I did have to set an example to the children to behave in in a noble manner whilst suffering and in pain. It was very brief and stupid. Basically, it was a foolish thing to do, and I'm not going to say I deserved it, but I can understand why very few people, including my own dear mother, have very little sympathy for me hurting myself on the zip wire. You can do it. Thank you for that, James. We need the picture. We need to remake that poster with you on it, I think, James, don't we? You can do it. And at Expats Portugal, that's for me, isn't it? Message for Gilda. Please explain the online resident card registration, especially where Brits are concerned regarding the withdrawal agreement. Have you popped that in the forum as well there, Chris? Worth doing, I think. But yeah, we'll put that to Gilda later. You might have to remind me if the comments and questions start to come in thick and fast. Bon dia todos de frio, Westwood, New Jersey this morning. New Jersey this morning, Gene. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. And no online voting, says Antonio F. A quick answer to Deagle, and postal is restricted for some situations. So the normal way of things then is to get to the ballot boxes and get to the polling stations there. And Susan, hope you're doing well, Gene. By the way, I didn't dwell long enough on your kind contribution to the show there. Suzanne is here. Thanks for joining us on Saturday night. That was a bit of fun, wasn't it, on Saturday night, talking about whether the year is basically nature or nurture. One of the comments I remember is nature, and that's all there is to it. And nurture is the thing you can do something about. So there you go. To have the best of 2022s, get your nurturing skills in position. And it's a good question to ask Gilda, isn't it? Because we did talk to Gilda last week about her being a bit more, exercising a bit more self-care. And we'll see how her Zen experiment is going this morning, later on after 9. Bon dia todos, 3:30, 3.5 this morning, and 20 degrees Fahrenheit in Pittsburgh, which to me sounds quite warm and balmy. And I do appreciate you being here at 3:30 in the morning. What you like? SW's here. Nice bike. Nice throbbing beast between the legs there. Bon dia. Hi, guys. No longer paralyzed by procrastination. Yes, well done. Been looking on Idealista Porto. Here we come. Well done, SW. Yeah, it's good to break through the old paralysis by analysis, isn't it? And put the procrastination behind you. I'm a quick and dirty guy myself. And sounds like that works for you too, or has given you a bit of a breakthrough. Bon dia from Pittsburgh. Oh, yes. Thank you for that twice, Suzanne. And Bing it. Is that like bring it? Oh, no, Bing it as in Bing. Is that the third? I guess with Microsoft's power behind it, that will be the third. But Thunderduck obviously preferring duck, duck, go. Mark, mark. Pippa's here from Botswana. Bon dia, Gumpus. Overcast here, but still 25 centigrade. Ecosia is a great search engine. And they plant trees. Good to know. Thank you for that reminder. So duck, duck, go and Ecosia are the. I'm going to go with the cozier. That sounds cozy, for one thing. Oops, forgot about the exceptions to dia, masculine ending with an A and capitalized. Yes, you can count this as another minute towards your 15 minutes today. De nada. Look at you, service to the community, over and above. The call of duty there. Thank you, James. Took very chesty. So this is Deagle's experience of COVID. 2 antibiotics, 2 courses of booster steroids, was sick for almost 4 weeks. I'm fairly healthy, swim 100 plus lengths daily, but super breathless. But a complete recovery, I think, because you're back to those levels of athletic, near Olympian behavior, I think, Deagle. Okay, interesting to know. Thank you for that. For that recap. Bon dia, Eusebio's here, everyone, the prof. Conspiradores de relocación. Relocation. That's right, isn't it? I've said that correctly. So, migratory conspirators. That's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? I can almost feel a poem coming on there in the spirit of Camões. Thank you very much, Prof. Good to have you here this morning, and liking your YouTube picky of Severa there. My 15 minutes of Portugal yesterday was the hour I spent deciphering the grocery store flyer. Very good, Cindy B. Yes. And it makes for interesting reading, doesn't it? Always good to do something you enjoy. So I like looking at those and seeing foodstuffs that you could try in the new place. And Vishwanath NB, good morning from India as well. So second shout out from India this morning. Good to have you here, Vishwanath. Stay tuned if you want info about migration to Portugal from Gilda a little later on. And Michelle's here from Australia. Good call. I think Advantage and Djokovic this morning, right? Bon dia, alegria, Carl, and everyone. What a load of old nonsense, eh? But good to see that decision from my point of view, in my opinion. Anyway, nature is a software, nurture is overriding, running, or rewriting it. Indeed. And this is what you will find in permaculture. Rewriting the software, overriding the software. Is that such a good idea? Learning how to be in tune with nature might be a pretty good form of nurture, right? The active replication or honoring the homage, the daily homage to nature in our personal lives. That's a form of nurture as well, isn't it? I think. Gemini, good to have you here. Gemini, thank you for your comment on YouTube. Good morning, everyone, from you. And rewiring the hardware, our own personal. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a matter of, that's an interesting comment, that, James, because let's face it, I think we're a little bit out of tune with nature, aren't we? Our so-called civilized, postmodern human beings. It could be argued that we're quite out of whack with nature. And it's actually nurturing ourselves. It's actually, strangely enough, the arc back to nature and rediscovering our natural magnificence. Liking this little bit of philosophy this morning, James. Thank you. Good morning, Carl and all, Raphael. Yeah, we're still having our people talk to each other so we can get you on the show, right? But I haven't forgotten. And today in Portuguese history, 2017, the state funeral of Mário Soares, former PM, if I'm correct in my assumption there. Or well, I guess actually, I think Mário Soares was a former PM. Was very sick, was in hospital with COVID. God, I was sick. Only just got out Saturday. Still ill, breathing is slowly. Sorry to hear that, Gemini. My goodness. Okay, I'm glad to hear you're back out of hospital. My goodness. So it sounds like you've had it bad there. And Brian Taylor is here. Bon dia as well. Hello, Brian. How are you this morning? I've got something to play for you now. We'll have a little sip on my tea from the weekend. How rude of me not to ask you how your weekend was, folks. How was your weekend? Let us know what you've been up to, especially if if you are here in Portugal. How was it? How are your Portuguese weekends? What are you discovering? For a lot of expats, of course, the weekend is a lot like any other day of the week. So it might be a bit of a false question. But let me know what you've been up to. And it doesn't just include people here in Portugal. Well, I'd love to know what you've been up to this weekend, and hope to hear that you've been enjoying yourselves ahead of this Blue Monday, if that's indeed what it is. Check this out. Oh, I'm just uploading. I'm not actually playing anything. So you'll have to bear with me face for a little bit longer and the scars on my forehead, but that's uploading nicely now. A little bit of video that I took at, I'm sure you know by now, one of my favorite places in Portugal, Gralha, just up behind San Martinho de Porto here. It feels like this is a very long video. Let's see. What's your... Portugal, a country of contrasts. Baby goats, gambling, in the field. Oh, look at that. Just kidding around. I think they're quite new ones. Rural Portugal. And then pan up to the sky. People flying. People flying in the sky over the Atlantic. You crazy fools! Isn't that amazing? There's 4 of them hanging in the sky there, over a yellow warning coastline. Oh, here comes another one. Here he comes. He's coming in. He's coming over us. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to make an important film here. Look at that. Would you do that? Doesn't look like a very comfortable sitting position to me, but maybe it's optimized for flying. Here we go. Let's see if we can zoom in and see the smile on his face, or the look of absolute terror. Turn that frown upside down, mister. Look at that. Looks like a surprised face on the horizon. Munson, Portugal, Atlantic coast, signing off. Baby goats, men flying in the sky, and crashing waves at Nazaré in the distance. There's Nazaré, just that far coast there. Wonder how the surf's doing today. No way I do that, says Thunder. And it was amazing. You could almost reach out and touch them over there on the Gralea cliffs. Quite extraordinary. And one of them looked like my mum. I took my mum up there to see it. And one of them had a white crash helmet on. It looked like my mother's grey hair up in the sky. It's like, come down, Grandma. Get down. Get down from there. But would you do that? Ficar ótimo. Stay well, I think is the phrase there. Stay on the ground, stay well, says Chris, who also says, yeah, me and Mrs. Capricorn 12 have been doing our 15 minutes a day, and I'm happy to say that it's working slowly but surely. We are determined to keep it up so that we can become fluent using Memrise. Okay, so back to the Memrise. And James, on our philosophical inquiry this morning, verdad on getting back to nature. Yeah, maybe it's rewriting. Maybe rewriting the rewriting. Yes, indeed. Enjoying my conversation with you this morning. Incoming, we have a lovely turnip, or that's at least what Garvo thinks it is. I've got a couple of things to share with you. Oh yeah, if we've got time this morning, I want to talk to you about the Portuguese chocolate brand Melgão. Has anyone tasted Melgão? Just briefly then, Melgão is the first company in Portugal to transform cocoa into chocolate. So it sounds like they have the cocoa delivered here. I don't think cocoa is grown. Most things are grown in some part of Portugal or other, aren't they, including the autonomous regions. Not sure about cocoa nibs. We might find out when we dive deeper into Melgão later. But they transform cocoa carefully, selected at the origin. Sounds like it's from the traditional crop, cocoa growing countries into unique chocolates, thus becoming a revolutionary in the offer through new flavors and textures. Ooh, lovely body temperature chocolate. It's one of the things about chocolate, isn't it? It melts at body temperature. Is that right? We have such a kinship, don't we, with chocolate, us human beings. So rewriting the rewriting there. Portuguese study. I'm working on it at least 15 minutes a day at the cafe. That's great, Suzanne. Baby steps, baby. There. Jean, or perhaps as Carl suggests, it's reprogramming the bits of nurturing that took us away from nature. So maybe it's ditching the beta for the original programming. I think I've missed Jean's comments there. Must have missed a chunk of the conversation out there. So sorry. Oh, Nature 2.0. There you go. That's the comments. Yeah, Nature 2.0. Very interesting. I do like the 2.0 idea. A bit like us here, us expats 2.0. And yeah, I think it's an extended version saying, yeah. Or did I just read this out? But so maybe it's ditching the beta for the original programming. Yes, indeed. Gravity is your friend. It's always there to catch you and hug you. That's a nice way of putting it. Despite those crazy fools flying above the cliffs there. It must be amazing to lift off like that. The only thing I can compare it with is I've not done a parachute jump, but I did do, is it parascending, where you get towed behind a boat, and really enjoyed that. I think it was in Thailand. That was a fantastic thing to do. Really enjoyed it. So a similar thing there, but you're completely in control, aren't you? For better or for worse, with those. Are they paragliders? What those guys were doing there? And from Ubi, bon dia todos. And I'm saying men. I think I was guessing that they were male figures. I could see people. Let's say people doing the paragliding there. Including possibly grandma that we thought we cited in one of them. Bon dia todos from Ubi. Gravity, not just a good idea, it's the law. Indeed, until further notice, that is. It's a fairly safe assumption. It's been there all of my life, and most of us here, I think, probably all of us, right? Sam Wells, hola, boa noite from Sydney, Australia. Good morning, Sam. How are you this morning? What's it like in Australia at the moment? I mean, I know that's a big question, but your view, Sam? Nature should be our baseline, or perhaps our baseline. Yes, Gene, I think that's pretty good. What is the most natural baseline you know from a track? Another one, bites the dust, comes to mind, which is the bad thing to say, given the video I've just shown you. But yeah, base is like the base, as in BASS, is like the bloodstream, isn't it? I would say. So that's a pretty good analogy there. Hola, Antonio F. Good morning to you from Ubi. And Jandis is here as well this morning. Lots of people here this morning. I think they want to talk to Gilda, who is here now. And I must find those questions from YouTube. So bon dia, folks, from Jandis. And just as we come up to 9 o'clock in the morning, it is time to welcome from south of the water, Lisboa, there near the throbbing metropolis, Gilda Pereira from A Immigrant. Assessoria. I get that the wrong way around. It's Assessoria e Immigrant, isn't it, Gilda? Good morning to you.
It's Assessoria Migratória. Good morning.
Migratoria. I've been saying it completely wrong for months now. Thank you for putting that right for me. I'm just going to go with A and stick with that.
Yes.
So, what a lovely smile on your face, telling me you've had a fabulous weekend and the general sort of Zen relaxation program, self-care is going pretty well. Am I right?
Well, I had some rest, that's for sure, and I'm trying to sleep more hours. And I'm trying to work less.
And you use the word
delegating more.
Good, and it's. I think it looks like it's working. If I can go from the visual we have of you and the big broad smile on your face.
Yeah, I think it's working so far. We're only on the 10th of January.
That's not bad though. We're into double figures there, Gilda. So I'm very pleased for you. I'm very pleased for you. I'm so glad to hear that. So yes, how are things in the metropolis? Things gearing up for the election? Things coming back to life after Christmas?
Yeah, everything. You know, have you watching the debates? No, you don't.
I haven't been. I've been keeping in touch with the. Actually, that's a really good idea. Thank you for that suggestion. I did see. I think I have seen some TV coverage, and I've unplugged my Digibox, if that's what you call it, for Portuguese telly momentarily as the living room gets rejigged. But I've seen a little bit on TV when I've been in the cafes, and I have been keeping an eye via the English news media, the Portugal news and the Portugal Resident, but not as much as I think you're suggesting might be a good idea. So can you tell us how is it looking for since we spoke last week? You thought that maybe Antonio Costa, some people are saying he's a little bit tired and he wants the majority and nothing else will do. Does that seem to be how it's going still?
Yes, I guess so.
Right, okay. And we did have a question earlier on. I think Antonio jumped in, and thank you for that, Antonio. But Diga was asking if the pandemic was having an effect on, here it is, on voting. It looks like Portugal is going to stay with turning up at the ballot box and the polling station. There's no referral or use of postal voting because of the pandemic, by the sound of it.
No, they haven't decided yet.
I see. It can still happen. Crikey. Okay, so just 20 days to go. So things are probably getting a bit feverish around the halls of the civil service here to make that happen. Okay, interesting. All right. And any news from the migration front with Seth or any changes? Are there more appointments? Anything happening that we can share that's good news?
Well, we have some news. They are
Ooh.
having, yeah, they are having a pilot project,
Oh,
which is called the Open House. You don't need an appointment. You just go there and try to do your thing. But it's with I don't know what we called with signage. You have to have a ticket.
oh yes,
So
yes,
the first ones that get there have to get a ticket. And this was it's only on the CEF of Coimbra, and
yeah.
this happened on Saturday. But the thing is, the tickets run out on Friday.
Okay. Hold on
So
a minute. The tickets ran out before the project even started.
yes,
No. How is so? What do people just went there and got tickets before the place shut so they could
yeah,
turn up again on Saturday? Oh my word! It shows the pent up demand, doesn't it?
yes, exactly. So we don't know how it's going to work. It looks a bit disorganized,
Okay.
but let's see how the
All right.
project is going to work.
But and that's I take it that's for all CEF inquiries and the way that the offices work, not just for the sorts of inquiries that people would have here.
Yes, that's all for the whole self inquiries.
All CEF, okay. So that's amazing. So there are probably people who are working on behalf of other people, going into the office and just grabbing a ticket, and so that you can turn up. It's like queuing up for the latest iPhone, isn't it? Talking to Seth.
Yes.
Maybe people, maybe people will start camping out on the street outside because it is getting very serious
That's
for people.
exactly what happened.
What people do camp outside on the street.
Yes, they were
Oh, my.
doing that.
And this can't be doing much for staff morale, can it? To try and come up with a solution and
No,
for it to
and can you imagine when clients will start asking us for that?
what's asking you to go and get a ticket for them.
Yes.
Indeed, indeed.
We
Okay,
have to
yes.
go and sleep in Coimbra and camping there.
Is that a service that A are offering?
No.
No, I didn't think so. No, I don't think anybody would seriously want you to do that. But if anyone is in Coimbra near the CEF office, there's a nice little income stream for you to go and. I shouldn't really be recommending this, should I? But what an interesting situation, and not the best of outcomes yet. But this is how it used to be, of course. And you mentioned the description of the ticket service in Portugal. And this is not just CEF, this could be the deli counter in a supermarket, of course, couldn't it? Sinhas, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Sinhas, okay. And that's a very important part of Portuguese culture, everybody. When you even in a phone shop, I think the big phone shops do it as well, don't they? So you go in into the store, and there'll be a little terminal there, and you press the button, and you wait your turn, and you wait for people to shout it out, like the lady on the Leclerc for me at the weekend on the deli counter. And then you place your order, but you're going to be stuck if you're stood there and you haven't taken a ticket. You may well be standing there for some time. So get into that bit of Portuguese culture there, the Sinhas. We have questions from YouTube. I thought of this idea of the A to Z of migration myths. It's quite adventurous because there might not be 26 migration myths. We might not be able to do each letter of the alphabet, but I think starting with A for apostille might be a pretty good start. It's one of the bits of jargon, isn't it, that you only really learn because you're migrating. Can you explain to us what apostille and apostilling is, and that it's nothing to do with? Well, maybe its root is something to do with apostles in the Bible, but what is apostilling, Gilda, and is that the right verb?
Yeah, apostille is when you have a document, an official document from one country,
Yeah.
and you need an apostille from that country, and it states that um, it's an official document issued by that country.
Yes.
And with an apostille, it can be used in other countries. Okay.
Ah. Okay. Yeah. And the requirement for that then would include what sorts of documents? All the important ones, all your sorts of
All
certificates
the
that.
official documents that are issued by notaries and public institutions.
Okay, and this is just to make sure that they stand up elsewhere in the world, notably here at Portugal, of course. Okay, and have I spelt it correctly there with two L's? I think I have, haven't I? So migration myths A to Z, Apostille. If you have they're not myths, are they? But it's a nice bit of alliteration, and I suppose people might think of it as a mythical beast of some sort. It does sound like a little bit of a Greek legend, the Apostille. But there you go. There's the explanation of it. Anything else? Any jargon that we can bust for you? Do let us know, and we'll sort that out for you every Monday when Gilda is here for Migration Mondays. The other thing of note, possibly at the moment, and it was asked before, who was it? Mummy's Boo Media was asking about the Golden Visa. Any news updates there on the Golden Visa?
Yes, as you know, now you cannot not buy anything from the coast area
Oh, yeah.
except from Azores and Madeira, and real estate in the coast area only for commercial buildings.
Okay, so things are changing to distribute the. I suppose it's not pressure exactly, is it? But to open up people to other parts of Portugal, and maybe to cool it down a little bit on the
Yeah.
places that have been most popular, which are driving up property prices, etc. No, Apostille is not Apple Steel. Portuguese scrumping. I'm so glad we did that feature this morning. And on the matter of Apostille, are your original documents returned after they're apostilled and submitted? Good question from Suzanne.
Yes, most of them, yes.
Okay. It's a little bit more on the process then. The apostilling is done by a third party though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So you go in with the documents, or leave the documents, and then you get an apostille certificate because an upstanding member of society, i.e. a legal person, says, yes, this is indeed an official document of this country. That's the process, right?
I'm sorry, someone is calling me insisting, and that person is in Seth.
Oh,
I'm
do you want to take the
sorry.
call? Do you want to take the call? I
No,
can.
it's
Okay,
okay. It's okay.
but because I think anyone here would understand and make way for a call from Seth. So I'm very happy for you to do that, Gilda, and come back to us in a little while.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so the question was, I'm trying to understand. I've not had to do this myself, but with apostilling, you're taking the document to a legal person who offers this sort of service. They say, yes, this is indeed a legal document of this country. Is it to whom it may concern, or is it a Portuguese office that does this for you, or is it an independent lawyer?
No, it's not a Portuguese office. It has to
Right.
be an office from the home country,
Yes,
because it needs to be an office from the country that will prove or testify that it is the document, it was issued by an entity, from a legal entity from that country.
yes. Okay, so
Yes, it can be a notary.
okay, and there's really no reason why they should keep them, is there? I mean, they can keep them while they need to see them and say that they are official, but there's no need for them to be kept after that, is there?
No,
There's no reason for that. Okay, Raphael, this is great. The apostille is only available within countries that are signatories to the Hague Convention, abolishing the requirement of legalization for foreign public documents, the Apostille Convention. So sometimes it's called the Hague Apostille, isn't it?
that is true. There is true, because but now almost all the countries are have signed the Apostille, the Hague Convention.
Yeah. Okay.
When we are talking about a country that has not signed the Hague Convention, what
Yeah.
is going to happen? The document needs to go to the Foreign Affairs Ministry,
Yeah.
and then needs to go to the consulate, like the Portuguese consulate, which is the consulate where they are coming.
Yeah.
So it goes to the Foreign Affairs of that country to say, okay, it's a legal document that is issued by an entity here, and then it goes to the Portuguese consulate saying that that it's a document that it's used by that country, and the consulate is going to prove it, and then it can be used by Portuguese. It's a little bit more complicated. But for
Where
instance, I'm going to give you an example. One of the countries that we work and did not sign the Hague Convention, it's Angola. So it
okay.
needs to be done like that.
Okay, a little more complex. All right, fair
Yeah.
enough. So if they're part of the Hague Convention, it makes it a little bit easier. There's another question. I'm glad we started this morning. Don't you get docs apostilled in a state which issued them originally? Is that a requirement? So if it's
To be
Californian,
honest, I don't know if that rule is a rule in the United States.
okay. All right, but it might make sense, might it not, if you've got a Californian marriage license to get it notarized in the same state to avoid, just to minimize any possible trouble. I think that's what I would do. Others may have personal experience of that from the States. And Jean says, my friend who is a notary described it as notarizing the notary. Yes, the infinite loop, the infinite legal loop there. And Raphael adding as well, the apostille is a certification from a legal authority specifically authorized in not only the country, but within the specific jurisdiction that document was issued. So yes, the state of America, for example, and it can't be issued by a notary. Hold on a minute, and that sounds a little bit contradictory there. Canada is another country that isn't a signatory of the Hague Convention on that. And in the US, says Raphael, seems to know a lot about this. Thank you for that, Raphael. The authority able to issue an apostille is a state. So yes, there you go. Go with sticking with the state that issued. The FBI background check has to be apostilled from the US government in Washington, D.C. The driver's license abstract is apostilled in the state of issue. So it varies. Okay. So thank you,
Very
Hive.
specific.
Yes, thank you, Hive Mind, for coming in on that. And when we get there on the A to Z of migration myths, D is for driver's license. Day 251 of no driver's license. Any news from IMT, Gilda?
No, it's still stuck.
Still stuck. Ticket or not, it sounds like they haven't changed any of their systems, so still a deadlock at IMT there. And
You know that many, if not all, the companies like ours gave up on rendering that service.
say that again. Sorry,
Many companies like ours gave
yeah,
up on rendering that service.
of helping people with driving licenses.
Yeah,
What, because it's just so darn difficult?
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, Carla is hanging on in there for you, Mr. and Mrs. Duck, with that. Okay. Djokovic is free. Absolutely right. Novak is free. And who is this Sydney guy in Australia this morning? Is James's the first dad joke of the day. Throbbing metropolis. Is that some sort of euphemism? No, it's a description of Lisbon, which I trust is well and truly back to life after the Christmas break. I suspect it is. And bon dia, Gilles, a question for you from James. I have my first CEF appointment coming up on the 25th of January, and I have a list of the documentation they want. Just the first of 3 messages. One of these is supporting evidence of registration within the tax authority. And a separate one is document proving that the applicant is registered with the Social Security where applicable. So the question is, what does that mean? Is this the NIF or something else? Muito obrigado for any clarification you can provide. So it's these documents here, supporting evidence of registration within tax authority and document proving that the application is registered or the applicant is registered with the Social Security where applicable. What should James have done in anticipation of this meeting?
Well, it's the evidence of registration with the NIF, with the tax authority. If possible, you have to pull out that you have no debts from the tax authorities, and the Social Security, it's not going to be needed if you're not working.
Oh, okay. So yes, if you've started a business or are working here, you would need to demonstrate and have evidence of your connection with the social security office, so that those contributions are being made. In your case, from what I know, James, I don't think that'll be needed. So there you go.
Yeah.
And it's, yes, you're quite right. It is about your NIF number essentially, to show that you've registered. Thank you, Gilda, for that. Thank you, James, for the question. Can my family stay with me in Portugal while waiting for reunion and CEF if they don't have their tourist visa? I suppose that means if their tourist visa has run out, right? Because most people coming into Portugal have 90 days to be here, don't they?
Yes, but now they have extended the tourist visas until the end of March.
For everybody.
Yes.
Okay, so if you came in and it expired, you still have to the end of March. But I suppose the question still stands. If it does lapse again and you're waiting for reunion or your visa, the reunion style of visa, can the family just wait around until that happens?
Yes, as long as they have an appointment
Yes. Okay.
already.
So you need to keep calling Seth and making sure you've got the appointment. Okay, yeah. So don't go into the grey area. Keep in touch with Seth is basically the thing to do, isn't it? So it may well go beyond the tourist visa timing, but you need to have some sort of communication and preferably a booking with Seth. And back to that ticket approach that they introduced in Coimbra. I guess they're coming back to their desks this morning, aren't they, to reevaluate that, Gilda? The ticket approach for Seth is a bit like pulling a cork out of the dam. Yikes! Hold on a minute. Immigration and charcuterie. Oh, I see. This is a reference to how you have the ticket, whether you're in Seth or whether you're at the deli counter. Serving ticket number 978. That'll be. I think there's a punchline to this coming up, but for the time being, I assume a vaccination is required to apply for the D7. That's not actually true, is it? Are there any medical exemptions made for this? If so, what documentation do you do? There are no rules that people show their vaccination status to get the visa. That's just a migration matter on the border, isn't it? Not that you,
Yes.
and that's about testing, not vaccination status.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not a
That's
requirement of
correct.
any. It's not a requirement of any visa, Suzanne. Okay, and Matty's here. Hola, bon dia, alegria a todos de Pombal this morning, settling in nicely. Bon dia to you from Rafael. And the tickets could be a great approach once the dam is drained. I mean, that was the approach before the pandemic, wasn't it? The CEF definitely had tickets, didn't they? But then again, did you have to have an appointment beforehand?
You had to have an appointment
Okay.
before.
And do you still get a ticket? Let's say you find yourself with it in the old days and you had an appointment, you still had to get a ticket, didn't you, to show that you'd arrived?
Yes.
Okay, so belt and braces there. I didn't know about taking the ticket when I first went to the post office. Yeah, so that was a probably half a day in the post office, wondering why people were shouting out numbers there. From Chris, oh, look at this. Preciso de ajuda. Gilda, please explain the CEF online resident card registration, especially where Brits are concerned regarding the withdrawal agreement. So what can you tell us for British people and getting the resident card, Gilda?
I think that we are going to have news soon, because last week there was a regulation about how much they are going to pay for this. But
Oh,
the regulation, I think it's 52 euros. But the regulation about how it's going to happen, we don't have it yet.
okay. So still work in progress, still figuring everything
Yeah.
out post-Brexit. Okay. Thank you for that, Gilda. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, look, take your ticket. I'd like to request a residence permit and 1 kilo of chorizo, please. I got a non-immigration question. Oh, I don't know if you can answer this, Gilda. Others may be able to here. Where can I deposit chemical waste like old paint thinner? In the Netherlands, I can bring it to the dump. How does it work in Portugal? There are some very elaborate recycling facilities that take all sorts of things. I'm not sure about your chemical waste. Can he take that to a council office of some sort for safe disposal and not be putting it down the drain?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll leave that to others here this morning. Owen's here as well. Bon dia, alegria, and good stuff about the Apostille. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions on the Apostille and your personal experience there. Is it true it's possible to invest in a coastal tourist resorts to be eligible for the Golden Visa? Yes, but they've changed,
Yes.
right, Gilda? So
On
there
the
are
resorts, yes, it's possible.
okay, but some have changed now, and you can get a list, can't you?
Yeah, but what they've done is that on the resorts they like split in parts, okay, and they made some funds, and you can invest on the fund of the resorts, and you can get the golden visa, and it's like you have a part of a hotel or a resort.
Oh, even in the old places or the original places?
Yes.
Oh, I see. So that's a work. So already people have found a workaround for this. Okay. Let's just bring this onto the screen for the moment. This is the news item from the Portugal Resident. Golden Visa Program 2021 saw 60 million euros pour into Madeira. Projections for 2022 even better. So 60 million generated in euros there for Madeira. And what generally speaking, what do you think Portuguese people make of this? Because does that mean really that Madeira is being turned into a kind of tax haven or a special place for people who want to get residency, get their passport, and not necessarily spend much time in the country? How is that viewed by would you say across the board, across the spectrum, by Portuguese people?
I think that, to be honest, they could have, if they wanted, they could have done it before.
Yeah.
And now, if they do it now, it's because they ran out of options.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. This is the person. This is the person taking the residency.
Yeah.
And I suppose politically, there is there is an issue here, isn't there, about how it kind of does cook property prices and can price Portuguese people out of the situation. Is that a big concern, or am I creating an unnecessary controversy there?
No, it's not. It's not a big concern.
Okay, still capacity.
Yeah.
Okay, so a worthy place of consideration, Madeira, paradise basically, and you can go for a golden visa there. But I know from conversations we've had in the past, your first suggestion for people is a D7 anyway, isn't it? Before going to the expense of a golden visa.
It depends if the person wants to move to Portugal or not.
Indeed. Okay, or just use it for their convenience. One might cynically say. Ubi hominum, with fresh Portugal visa in hand and the US CDC paper proof of vaccination, will I be able to get an EU digital proof of vaccination? That's probably beyond your area of expertise there, Gilda, but what would your assessment be of that?
I think that yes, because I know that other countries were able to do it. So I would say yes.
Okay, all right. And I know we've got some questions. I'm just trying to find a lot of questions that have come in via YouTube as well. Our YouTube comments, people tend to put a lot of questions there after the videos that they've seen. I would urge you, if you are one of those people, to put your question in the forum as well, because it can sometimes get overlooked over there on YouTube. But we'll do our best this morning to ask a few of them, and I'll call those comments up this morning. Let's see what else, though, before I go there, is happening inside the comments. Oh, yeah, thank you for that, Thunder. That was the apostilling of the FBI background check. Walter Perreira is here. No relation, or maybe they are a distant cousin here. By the way, I was there on Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. outside Seth to queue up for the 6th. It was Walter, the people you're talking about. Walter was one of them. I was number 4 in the queue, and a family of 4 with 2 small kids came after me. They would, of course, get priority, I think is what's happening. Oh, the 2 remaining slots. The guards asked if we were going to sleep there all night, and we all said yes. After that, they decided to give us the 6 tickets and asked us to come the next morning. That's amazing. So this is a bit of a scoop here. The actual people who may well have stayed on the streets all night just to get those precious. It's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. It's like the golden ticket, isn't it? Amazing, Walter Perreira. So that was you. And by suggesting that you were going to stay there all night, the guards took pity by the sound of it, or didn't want that insurance liability on their doorstep and said, look, come back in the morning, here are your tickets. That's amazing. So it only started on Saturday, but there you were, one of them on Friday, initiating that system. Incredible. A human test of the system there. Thank you, Walter, for being here this morning and sharing that with us. Suzanne Derringer, yes, that is true. I had to get my kids' birth certificates apostilled by the Secretary of State of States they were born in. So, yeah, excuse me, stick to the actual state where possible there. The difference with the FBI is specifically because it's a federal document, not a state issue. So, yes, where it's federal, go to the highest level. And where it's state-based, go to the state in question. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions on this. Bon dia, povos. Hey, Rebel Mama, how are you this morning? I am very glad we used EI for the driver's license. I can't imagine doing it on our own. Thank you, Gilda and Carla. So despite Mr. Duck's challenges there, he's not holding it against EI in any way. It's totally beyond your control. And it sounds like Carla very diligently approaching IMT. She must have some sort of record, probably, for the person in the world who has called the IMT the most times ever.
That's for sure. Calling and writing the IMT.
Okay. So, and the IMT have got this pile of letters from Carla in their office, haven't they? Oh, another one from Carla this morning.
Yeah.
Go check them out. Is that little Mandela?
Yes.
How
I don't know.
how is the little rat? His bark has come on quite a lot. When we first met him, Gilda, it was a little yap, wasn't it? It was a little, and now he's all manly. He's all manly with his barking. He's grown up. Suzanne Derringer, if you're in, that's Pennsylvania, isn't it? And in a hurry, drive to Harrisburg. Look at this information that's coming in person to person here. Love this. So drive to Harrisburg to get apostille the same day. By mail is ridiculously slow, but still faster than the losers who renew passports. Not happy there, Ubi, but that's a great tip. Thank you for that. And you get to keep it in your hand as well, possibly, rather than losing it in the post as well, which is fantastic. And muito obrigado for you, Gilda, there from James on what he needs on that meeting with Seth. Good luck with that. James, let us know how it goes. I thought UK officialdom is bad. Nothing compared to all that dizziness in Portugal, methinks. So many caveats. Yeah, it's complicated. But then I guess you haven't tried to migrate to the UK either, have you, Doug? Which probably is a little bit complicated in its own way too. Henlo, is that a new way of saying hello? I wonder. Henlo? Or is he making some sort of point there that I'm not up to speed with? Vitor, good morning to you. Bon dia. And Warren's here, everybody. Bon dia. 4:21 a.m. Staying up late or up early, Warren? The man behind the theme tune there. Good to have you here with us this morning, Warren. What is the exact length of the travel medical insurance to apply for the D7, says Ahmed Mahdi. I called my embassy here. They said, get it for 2 years, which is insane. I think it's not true. Is it true or is it not true, Gilda?
No, it's not true. It's now the most extended that they ask, it's 1 year.
1 year, Ahmed. Okay, there you go. So your intuition correct there, Ahmed. 1 year is what you need your medical insurance to cover there. He loves Gilda, basically. It's nice to get fan mail like that, isn't it? Love Gilda. And a bon dia from Tamara as well. Oops, so is Seth in Lisbon doing the ticket deal?
Not yet.
There wasn't a no, that was a not yet. Because of Walter putting the pressure on in Coimbra, it may happen. But they're going to have to deal with this, people actually trying to get the tickets before the system's even started. Such is the demand there. That's incredible. So, yeah, Coimbra at the moment and not yet in Lisbon tomorrow. Gilda, if people get a golden visa in Madeira with property, does this mean that they can stay on the mainland under the golden visa rules too? Absolutely right, yeah?
Yeah.
It's for all of Portugal, not just for Madeira. Madeira being an autonomous region, but certainly part of Portugal. Can I be in Portugal the past 90 days as an EU resident? Still no luck getting through to Seth. What else can I do? Some desperation coming from Tamara there. So what to do, Gilda? If your visa has run out or you're past your 90 days, as an EU resident, is it okay for people to stick around and just keep calling and have their paper trail, or do they need to leave and come back?
But she's saying that she's an EU resident,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
she doesn't need to go to CEF.
Okay, but maybe this is a UK thing.
She needs to register at the city hall.
At the camera. Okay, tomorrow. Sounds like
Yeah.
you should make a call to EI and get some help with this, because we're not entirely clear what your backstory is on that. I think a quick call to will be able to sort that out, and they may well be able to help you. Actually, while we're talking about that, let me find the link to Assessoria e Migratoria. I think I got it right that time. And I'll put
Assessoria Migratoria.
That's what I said, wasn't it? I think.
You said Assessoria e Migratoria.
What should I have said?
Assessoria e Migratoria. You should have said Assessoria Migratoria.
Hey. All right. I'm not going to embarrass myself any further. I'll practice that offline. But I am, after all this time as well. That is embarrassing. I'm so sorry, Gilda. But there it is. There's the link to the company, whatever they're called. In the comments there. Oh, don't shake your head at me like that. It's like having Philomena here. Okay. Great insights. You are the coolest, Gilda, a good Samaritan. How about that? And the Brunson mastermind. Burp, 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 burp. What is your turnaround time on opening a bank account, please, Gilda? I applied with you before Christmas, but still do not have an account yet. How long is that likely to take there, Gilda, please?
Oh, with the Christmas and that, it's a bit delayed, but I believe that now it's going to be. With who are you working? With Christina and Dana?
Okay, Brunson Mastermind. Allow for the Christmas break, and maybe just drop an email if you are in any way concerned, and I'm sure they will allay your fears. Hola, bon dia, Carly. Gilda from Jersey, PO Jersey, still working on those beers there. And I'm going to ignore the at comments. No, I'm not, because here's a good one. At Brunson Mastermind, it took me 2 hours at the bank with all the needed documents. So with things cranking back into action, I'm sure it won't be much longer, Brunson. And tomorrow from Matty, if you're an EU citizen, you need to register your camera. That's what Gilda said with your 12-month rental lease agreement. And thanks, Ubi, for that tip there. Just bad English for the hello there. I thought it said hello. I wasn't at all challenging your grasp of English, Vitor. Who would I be to throw stones in the linguistic greenhouse that I live in? Vitor Costa is in the house, everybody. He is. He's certainly in the comments. Okay, try immigrating to the US. Portugal is a snap, but one's attitude helps immensely since this is a different country culture. Thank you, Rebel Mama, for that. If we are coming from a Schengen country, do we need to register with CEF and try and get a ticket? No, as we've just said there, if you're Schengen EU, you just go to your camera. Are we right there, Gilda?
Yes.
Got to check with Gilda. And hi, good morning, Gilda and Carl from Raj. And lots of help for Brunson. When I did it through someone else, it took about 3 weeks, and it wasn't over a major holiday. So perhaps 4 to 6 weeks. But just, drop a line to Brunson, and I'm sure they'll put your mind at rest. Glad to let you know I got my card on the 4th day of my CEF interview. Nice one, Raj. Good news there. Fantastic. And I think, Antonio, yes, Schengen meaning. Oh, is Schengen and EU not necessarily the same thing? Is that what Antonio F is pointing to there?
Yes.
They are the same thing. Okay.
No.
Okay, so some Schengen countries aren't EU. Oh, which ones are they?
Or the other way around.
Yeah, okay. So which ones would they be that don't have agreements where you just go into the camera?
Like, I think Iceland.
Okay. Okay, so yes, if you're not able as an EU citizen to waltz into your camera, then yes, you will have to go through CEF and you will have to get the ticket. Okay, good morning, Portugal. Show is telling us, that's me telling you, expatsportugal.com/business directory, migration consulting, if you want to get in touch with. Hey, bon dia, long time since I've been on. It is Maxime, we missed you. And so you're not, and so you will, I'm going to say there, Jandis, you're not part of the EU from the country you come from. But we may seek or get further clarification from you on that in the comments. I went to the camera and they registered me with CEF, although I am an EU citizen. So the camera did the work for you there. Yes to Tamara from SW. Yes, not CEF. You need to register your place of stay or residence. I forget the word Carl mentioned. Residency, like the local council office, the Camera. Indeed. Okay. All the problems I have had have been due to my mistake, misunderstanding. I had another one yesterday. Lol. It happens, doesn't it? And we get used to it and we forgive ourselves there. Thank you, Rebel Mama, for pointing that out. Some cameras may prefer that you email them ahead of time with COVID. Doesn't hurt to check ahead. Nice tip. Thank you very much for that, Raphael. And Raj is Raji, Gilda, from Singapore to Faro now. So a satisfied customer by the sound of it. Ireland, not. Bulgaria, also not. But still no CEF, SW. So yeah, Bulgaria, Iceland, and Ireland, really? I think that should say Iceland there, not Ireland, because I think if you are from Ireland, you can waltz into your camera. Does the rental agreement need to be at one apartment or can it be two? Oh, that's a good question, Warren. Could you have 2 lots of 6 months for the D7 at different places?
Yes, you can.
Excellent.
I've
So if it
done
adds up
that. Well, it depends on the understanding of the place, but I've done it before.
Yep, there you go. I mean, the thing is, you might struggle to get a 6-month tenancy with a company or a homeowner. That's not normally the law, is it? It is normally 12 months. And we're loving this. God, I love this show. Makes my day so much better. Well, we're so glad to be of help. And not all Schengen are EU. So my mistake there, but all EU citizens are supposed to be treated the same as long as your country doesn't place any special restrictions for Portuguese citizens. How very dare they put in special restrictions for Portuguese citizens? I'll be talking to my MP about this. I'm Portuguese and just showing off, says Eusebio there. I went to, why not? I went to the Loja de Cidadão de Saldanho, where my French husband did this, and City Hall. I must go through CEF because I'm not a citizen of the EU. So we are up against that challenge. Sleeping bag at the ready. Only kidding. Hopefully, the change for you we're
is
seeing
to make an appointment for the family reunion.
Make an appointment for the family reunion, and also get a ticket on the new ticket system if that comes about to add additional pressure. I actually talked to a couple that got a D7 with Airbnbs. That must have been some time ago, though, Vitor. That's not allowed anymore, is it?
No.
No, okay. And they didn't know a 1-year lease was required, and for some reason they approved it. So they were very lucky, I would say. Ireland is not a part of the Schengen area, but still camera, not CEF. Yeah, okay, so Ireland, go to your camera. A couple of then from YouTube. We need to let you go, don't we? And we have, where are my questions gone that I have not responded to yet because I needed Gilda's expert help. I'm looking at a view where I can't see my questions, and I'm trying to navigate the difficulties of the YouTube back office. I'm having a bit of trouble with my back office this morning. Nothing that some figs won't sort out. I can't find those right now. I might have to go to my phone. Anything else we've missed, Gilda, this morning, or anything you want to say?
What was this? A cat?
What do you mean? Oh, on my forehead. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you didn't. You weren't here early enough to hear about this. Okay. No, I was on the zip wire in a children's playground, showing off to my children. I pushed my kids, basically, Gilda, I pushed the kids out of the way and said, look, I've got this. I'm going to stand on the zip wire and I'm going to show you how this is done. And I went off at some speed off the ramp there in Foz de Relio. Some people might still remember a grown man screaming like a child as his head hit the other end. Because there's a shock absorber at the other end of the zip wire, which you hit it, and then there's the thing you're holding on to swings. Well, my head, large as it is and heavy in mass, carried on its forward momentum, just like gravity. The law of momentum was there to make sure that my head met the cold metal and hit my head like that.
Oh, so sorry. Are you feeling better today?
Thank you. Damned by faint praise there. Darwin Award for me. Yeah, okay. Just I didn't think it through. And yeah, lucky for sure were the people who got their. Don't try this at home. It's not the way forward. To be trying to get Airbnb and family reunion is done through Sephiroth. It is.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
we're at the bottom of that. Okay, so I found my YouTube things now. I can't put these on the screen. Because I'm reading them from my phone on YouTube, back office. Hi, sir, madam. I married a Portuguese girl in 2012. We have been living in France continuously since our marriage. Oh la la. We did not register our marriage anywhere. So I also, a French residence permit. Also need one, maybe. I checked on the internet and I can apply for citizenship. I'm sending you what is on the migration website of Portugal. Oh, this is a really long one, isn't it? So let's just summarize this then. So if somebody is married,
She needs to register. She needs to start by registering her marriage in Portugal.
okay, all right, and then go
That's
through
the first
family reunion.
step.
Yeah, and then go through family reunion
But if
thereafter.
they don't live here, I would say they should go by getting the residency, the citizenship by marriage.
Okay, and that is all, aka reunion, right? Reunification.
No, it's different.
Oh, okay. So family reunification and via marriage are two different things.
No, one thing is the family reunification via marriage, and
Yeah.
another thing is getting the citizenship via marriage.
Oh, I see. Okay, I think these people are in France. They're not already here. So is that reunification in that case?
No, it's getting the citizenship by
Sorry.
marriage.
Okay, so as you said there, and that would also answer Jane, who also says how to apply it through marriage. So I hope you get to see this, both Jane and Nadim Ahmed, this morning. And then one last question from Wayne Thornley from YouTube: any advantages to setting up the company in Madeira while living in Lisbon? Same rules apply, or are there advantages of setting up your company in Madeira?
That depends of many things. How
Oh,
many people they are going to hire, the activity of the company, and there are special consultations that are needs to be done by someone that understands of taxation in Madeira, and that is not me.
okay, fair enough. So there can be differences in that
Mhm.
being offshore, as it were, over there. Thank you very much for that question. Who was it who asked that? That would have been Wayne Thornley. Thank you for that question, Wayne. And yes, I would say go to our forum, expatsportugal.com/community, and see if anybody else has done that. And I think that just about brings us up to date. Gilda, thank you so much. Bonus track of the day for you, Gilda, is the Mastermind theme tune. This was a UK show which had. You are the migration mastermind. And it has that track has the name of Approaching Menace. That is certainly not you. Could be said of Seth possibly, but that's Neil Richardson's Approaching Menace that I should probably be paying some copyright fees to, having hummed it this morning. But Gilda, to you, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you being here every Monday, answering questions of this kind and dealing with my terrible pronunciation and my poor grasp of these matters.
Thank you. Have a nice week.
We will, and keep up the good work with your self-care regime. We're loving the new Zen Gilda.
Thank you.
All right. Ciao, ciao. Love to
Bye
Mandela, the family,
bye.
and everybody at the
Bye.
office. Ciao, ciao. There she goes. Off to work now, Gilda Pereira, and to go and see what Mandela was barking about downstairs by the sound of it as well. Oh, no, sorry, Karim Kajani, you have to save this for next week or ask it on the forum. A rental agreement required at the first stage or the second stage? I'm going with first stage there, but ask the experts, and you've got the link in the comments there, Karim. From what I recall, and goodness knows I should know after, but I leave it to I mean, that's the thing, don't take my word for it. Go with the experts. Go with the link is in the comments. Let me pop it in there again for you now. So you've got what you need. Give them a call. And what else have we got here that we haven't looked at? Rebel Mama, plenty of transport, trains, buses into central London. but easier from Heathrow. I must have missed the beginning of that. I'm staying near Camden in March. Okay, Camden Market and all of that. Is transport from Gatwick or Stansted easier, cheaper to get into London? Oh, Gatwick or Stansted. They're much of a muchness, those two. I mean, they're some way out of London. Go to Heathrow if you possibly can, or even City Airport. I don't know if there are good flights from Portugal to City Airport, but you would be better off if you're going to Camden. From my knowledge of growing up in London, you would be better off going to Heathrow, and then after that, I'm thinking Gatwick and then Stansted, but they've all got connections into town because that's why people want to go there, right? In large part to get to the big city. There, hope that's helpful. And Rebel Mama to Vitor, in the US at least, they were letting people use Airbnbs. When we applied last January, they had changed it. I had to cancel the Airbnb. So right on the cusp of that particular change there. So I'm not giggling at that, Rebel Mama. I'm giggling at the fact that, yes, actually, you're right. It was a shark attack. You should have seen the state of the shark. Thank you, SW. For the rest of the day, I'm going to go with the shark attack story. Carl, I haven't gotten to use any zip lines here. There are always kids hogging them. You just push them out of the way. That's what I did. But then I got my comeuppance. Carl, wear a helmet when you leave the house, and always remember to bring a towel. There goes Carl with his crash helmet and towel walking around town. Brilliant. Rebel Mama from Capricorn 12. If you're flying to Stansted, you need to get the train into Liverpool Street Station or the coach to Victoria when you book your flight. Chris is the man who absolutely knows about these things. I think Chris has been to most airports around the world, certainly all the British airports. When you book your flight, see if there's a discount offered by the airline. Very nice. Yeah, it's ever changing. Would love to see if the process was easier myself. That's so when it comes to the D7s. And bubble wrap that melon. Stop it. Never leave your home planet without a towel. Playground lobotomy. You're having too much fun with my misfortune this morning, everybody. Always have a towel. What is this with towels? I know if you go to a nudist camp or a naturist park, it's the etiquette to have a towel. But I wasn't sure that you should take a towel everywhere you go or bubble wrap the helmet. Stop it. Good idea. I'm a little afraid of Ryanair. They have such a bad reputation. Indeed. And by the time they charge you for everything, it's not that much cheaper. Yes, I will wait. Yeah, TAP and British Airways are worth a look for sure. With all of that in mind, I just wanted to say that more and more as I talk to expats, they ask me, hey, do you know Gilda from EI? Hey, isn't that great? Thank you, Gilda from Jandis. Have a great day, Gilda from Jersey P as well. Carl, did you say your back office was struggling with the throbbing? Yeah, doesn't yours, James? And I have to say, says Chris, that it'd be a very bad day if I had to fly Ryanair. A very bad day. No love for that airline. You need a rental agreement for the D7 and also for the residence permit. Thank you, Thunder, for that. And practicing your moves on the zipline, Carl. Other job, the Cadbury's milk tray man. Yeah, you see? Yes, exactly right. But I don't like to brag about that. Thank you for that, Fiona and Simon. Towel is a reference to the hitch. I thought it might be. I thought it were a culture thing that I wasn't aware of. Take a towel, 42, etc., etc. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference, carry a towel. Okay, towel. It's a classic reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. A must read, although some of the humor may be a bit dated. Funny thing about humor, that's never stopped me sharing my favorite jokes with my children, who are my primary audience. They don't know that my jokes are dated yet. Okay, 10 minutes to, and I wanted to talk to you. I'm afraid that I may have missed things this morning, getting back into it. Oh no, Gary wants to show his. Gary wants to show you what he pulled out of the ground this morning. Look at that. Whoa, an eye-watering turnip there. Or is it a mangel wurzel or a beet? That is a beauty. I would go with, no, I'm going to go with, what is that? That's not a radish, is it? But it is a beet. I think that's called a beet. Not missing the beat this morning is Gary. I'm struggling, as you can hear. But we want an ID on that. Come along, bring it along tonight. We'll show that tonight, Gary, on the gardening Q&A. But that's a beauty. That's an eye-watering specimen that should be looked at by the district nurse, I think. And staying in the garden, look at this. This is an amazing picture, which I'm not saying it's amazing because I took it. You could be forgiven for thinking that these are the primordial beginnings of life on Earth, or something that the space rover or whatever it's called is sending back. That is just a scum on top of an overflowing compost heap. And I know you'll think worse of me for mentioning that I have such a thing in my back garden. But look, we had a tub, and I think it had potatoes growing in it from the lovely earlier inhabitants of this homestead here. And it didn't have any drainage holes in it. So in the recent rain, it got quite full. Then it's gone green like this. I turned my back on it for a moment, and then I've got this on top of the water. Quite extraordinary. The only thing I've done with that, filtration-wise, is just to highlight the photo a bit to bring out the contrast. But isn't that extraordinary? I love that picture. And yes, so can you identify this? Actually, you might be able to identify this as well and tell me if it's useful for, I don't know, if I've got a dodgy tum, should I repopulate my friendly bacteria with this? And Portuguese brands, we're going to talk about one as we go out this morning, the Melgão chocolate brand. I'm going to put that on the screen so you can look longingly at chocolate. But look, talking of Portuguese brands, do you know this one? Tous. And that sounds very French, doesn't it? Tous. But their catchphrase, and I'm really not sure about this, is stay pink, stay tender. Good advice or not, do you think, Gumpers? Let me know. So let's have a look at this chocolate company who I found them, I think, through the Portugal news. This is Melgão, Portuguese chocolate brand. So let's bring it onto the screen for you so you can have a bit of a mouth-watering experience this morning with Melgão. Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Because there should be some lovely pickies of what they do here and wherever they are. We're going to find out. Oh, look at that! They're lovely chocks. I think we should watch the video, don't you? But let's look at the pictures first. They are abroad, examining the cocoa pods. Aren't they beautiful? The art of chocolate, Melgão here. They're delightful, aren't they? So picturesque. There's a cocoa pod hacked open to release the goodies inside. Look at that cocoa production there. This is where the art of chocolate artists are sourcing their chocolate for Melgão. And that must be fun, mustn't it, going to get the pods? And being the sort of person who could just pick one up and bite into it and go, yes, I will take 5 tons of these, please. So let's see. Let's go to I need to click onto the page here. The Art of Chocolate. Discover the different flavors and aromas of the range of chocolates. Melgão, cocoa and chocolates there. So what have we got? We've got Xerxo Magro, and Late and Pupa and Pura is that. So 4 principal brands there. Their process. Look at this. These are people who take chocolate seriously, right? Planting, harvesting, and seeds, and then the fermentation of the seeds. The seeds are fermented for between 5 and 7 days. Just look at that lustily for a moment, will you? We'll have a little, because I'm making my mouth water and being a little bit dehydrated at the same time. Stand by. Ooh, Monchique water, you're so lovely. So drying after the fermentation. After fermentation, the seeds are dried in the sun during the hottest hours, covered during the hottest hours. And so they are dried and then covered during the hottest hours and stored at night to avoid getting wet. Okay. And then they're roasted, and then a cocoa pasta is made. Now, this is not unlike the old Dr. Bayard business, isn't it? Look at that. And so these people are serious about their chocolate production. That doesn't look entirely appetizing, I have to say there, but there you go. That's part of making the paste for the cocoa there. Oh dear, what's happened now? Okay, yeah, cocoa paste, pasta, and then the shelling, the phase where the cocoa releases its acidity, enhancing its flavors and aromas. Did you know there was so much in chocolate or in the process? And the cocoa mass is mixed up then. The refinement takes place with the other ingredients that make up the chocolate and is refined. And number 10, the molding into those shapes. The chocolate is tempered, molded into small drops or placed in molds where it stays until completely crystallized. So really, I think of those processes, from number 3 possibly, maybe the fermentation starts here in Portugal. And that's the lovely Melgal folks who made that. Anyone tasted that? Let's have a look then at their ranges and their products and see what we can grab for ourselves next time we're at the supermarket. Oh, cocoa products, Kuji, whatever that is, the intense, the classic, and the no added sugar. So there you go. An amazing company based in the Alentejo here of Portugal. And I'm going to share with you in the comments a link to that because they probably do mail order. Because I've not seen it. We'll go out with the video actually, but I've not seen Melgal so far. It's come to my attention via one of the English-speaking news sources, I believe the Portugal News there. And they've just noticed as well, they've got like a news reader, the Portugal News. If you go to the Portugal News, is it portugalnews.com? Yeah, the Portugal News, all one word.com. The first thing you're greeted by on the screen is a newsreader who's reading out the headlines. It's quite nice, pretty cool. Okay, melgal.com there is if you want to go and check out that chocolate. And let's see a few more of your comments, but we'll go out with their video today, which seems like the right thing to do. Question, what is your favorite Portuguese vegetarian dish? Because Owen is going to be, I think, with the doc on Wednesday. Is that right, Owen? And it is a radish. I was right about that. It's a radish. Get some of it grated with some cabbage, with some apple, and make a nice slaw. Looks like a turnip or an oversized watermelon radish. I'm going to go with radish there. Turn the turnip green side down and it becomes Carl with his wound. Thank you, James, for that. You say the nicest things. I did say my back office was a throbbing metropolis, and we've got the towel references there. I still think digital watches are a good idea. Oh, is that another reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide? I suspect it might be. Jim, hello, Jim. Bon dia, todos. Nice watermelon. Are you talking about my head or what we showed you there? Parsnip. I think it's not tapered enough to be a parsnip there, Cindy B. I'm going to go with radish, but we'll talk again tonight, Cindy B, about that when we see you with your wonderful introduction to permaculture and your new course that is coming up. Online course, I hasten to add, if you want to learn about permaculture. I've slipped down during the show today. Jim, good morning to you. How's it going in Peniche? And yes, likenesses to my bonts with Garvo's great vegetable there. It looks like a turnip or an oversized watermelon radish. I'm going to go with watermelon radish tonight. Yes, because we will be talking about it tonight. So glad I didn't impulse buy the Ryanair ticket last night. I was excited to get my free accommodation and was trying to wrap up my trip details. I will look today. Yes, spared the indignity of traveling Ryanair. 75 people watching. Let's all hit the like button and really give the channel a Monday morning smile. I'm going to watch this now. Everybody watch the like button, but also press the like, and let's see if this changes in real time, shall we? Can we get 75 people liking with 75 watching, I wonder? Dated jokes become dad. Yes, they ferment, don't they? They ferment. Still no more likes as far as I can see. Or is that just on Facebook there? Oh, I see. I'm not seeing the likes on YouTube. I can't see it in real time. Is it a beetle? What, that great big vegetable that Garvo picked up? I wonder. That would be terrifying. If that had legs and was moving across your garden, you would do right to scream and run the other way. Or were you referring to that there? I think that's algae. And that was a vegetable. I don't think we're talking about beetles there, unless we got the wrong end of the stick here. Next COVID family. I'm wondering what that means. Viana de Castelo has an amazing chocolate store with their own production as well. So shout out to the chocolate makers. Blessed are the chocolate makers of Portugal. And replying, Thunderduck to Owen, traditional bean stew, the feijoada would be a great Portuguese dish. Is that what we're doing on Wednesday? I personally fly with EasyJet. They're better on the customer service. Just make sure that you check your baggage allowance and weight and size. They are really hot. And you need a James Bond style case that Chris has got where the wheels come off and it turns into a bandsaw or something like that, doesn't it, as well? Capricorn 12. It's got an integral compass like Clark's shoes used to have in the heel. Owen, are there any Portuguese vegetarian dishes? I think even a vegetable soup they put in some chili. So yes, that is a fair comment, but there are some for sure. And yeah, I guess you got to make sure it hasn't got meat stock in as well. If that's important to you. That chocolate just got added to my grocery list. Melgal, excellent. I thought your weather would be good for choc making up there in the north of Portugal from Michelle there. And Rebel Mama, you'll love Camden Town. Great place. I used to work there. Cole will also know Soul to Soul had their shop there in the 80s. Yes, visited and spoke to Jazzy B in his shop in Camden. Amazing. I'm not checking a bag, only bringing a small backpack. Travel light is my new travel plan from here on out. Only going for 3 days to see a music show. Which one are you going to? Is it the Roundhouse up there? I saw the Pixies at the Roundhouse. Healthy. I didn't enjoy it. I'm sure you Pixies fans will be sad to hear. I was taken along by Richard Kirk of Cabaret Voltaire. You might remember Cabaret Voltaire, Rebel Mama, to a Pixies gig. To some people, that would be the most amazing thing. Not my cup of tea, the Pixies, sadly. Isn't that awful when you're on the guest list and you're not that fond of the band? That sounds so spoiled, don't I? First world problem. Going to treat the doc this week, looking for something special. Okay, feijoada. You can't go wrong, can you, with a feijoada? It's even better for choc eating, as well as producing there up in the north. Chocolate production looks like a lot like coffee production. I thought that from growing to roasting anyway. And I was there last time, but it was at night. Lol, saw the specials there a few years back. I bet that was good. There's a beat gig, not the English beat, the beat that formerly featured Ranking Roger. Rest in peace, Ranking Roger. A great full-length YouTube video of the beat at the Roundhouse. Really good gig. Ooh, nice. Are you going to Doc or is he coming over? Yum to both, coffee and chocolate, or eating it and producing it up in the north. And so, yeah, chat breaking out. Smash that button, says Thunder. You know, we're getting close to 10,000 on YouTube with subscribers. I think that's going to be an important moment to help our viral spread. Good viral spread on this occasion. The one and only time I was in London was like a pilgrimage to Joe Strummer and the Clash. Lol, that sounds like fun. Veggie London calling. Is calling you, Rebel Mama. Veggie Portuguese dishes are few and far between, says Eusebio. But if you leave out the chorizo garnish, then I would say caldo verde. Good call. And I am going to Viana do Castelo soon. Where, Vitor Costa, is that chocolate shop? We always have a friend. We have a friend who is in a Clash tribute band. Always great to hear them perform live, says Chris. And that place, to put it on your list, Michelle and Rebel Mama, is Fábrica dos Chocolate. And last few comments now. Promise, most Portuguese dishes can be made vegetarian. Many restaurants here in Lisboa serve them. Yeah, you can get plant-based fish and chips, can't you, in Lisbon? Rebel Mama, let me know. Maybe I could tag along if you have room for company. There you go. He's invited himself along to your chocolate tasting tour. Not sure I would like that. I saw the Whalers, without Bob, of course, and cried the entire time. Oh, Rebel Mama. And I don't think she's talking to you, Vitor. Not sure that she would like you tagging along. I don't think it's a reference to that comment. Have a lovely day, gang. Check out Rome to Rio for how to leave the airport. Stansted was a long bus ride when I did it 20 years ago. And I love the Pixies. I knew somebody would say that. I'm so sorry. And I love Cabaret Voltaire. Not a Pixies fan, but I did go to the Roundhouse. It was great. Yeah, we lost Richard Kirk, didn't we, recently, who I just mentioned. So another great lost from the great musical Hall of Fame there. Top alternative band. And seminal is a word that's rightly applied to Richard and Mal of Cabaret Voltaire there. Vitor Costa actually going up to Caminha, but I drive through VDC, Viana do Castelo, because I like to follow the coast. I love the specials. Ghost Town, much too young as well. A lot of two-tone talk now. I saw the specials at the Roundhouse about 5 years ago. Still fabulous. I saw Madness when I was 16 at the Hammersmith Odeon, now the Hammersmith Apollo. Terrifying it was with all them skinheads in there. Trimostros and a sorda with Quijadas Pastéis de Feijoada in there from Fiona and Simon. Good call. Another good call on the grub front there. Booking more flights to Portugal today. Well done, Chris. See you soon. And saw them in 82 in Los Angeles and then 2014 in Camden. So good both times. That's the specials, I think. Excellent. And Victoria's here. Morning, Victoria. I bet Victoria's seen a few good gigs in London as well. Shoreditch, Brick Lane for Vintage, also Brixton in South London. She knows her London. Me too. I bet we were at the same show. Lol, so good. Eusebio and Rebel Mama there. Reminiscing about good times with the music. And great, mate, says Gemini there. Antonio F. Bon dia to Victoria Benson. Let's go out now this morning with that rather marvelous, well, I'm hoping it's going to be a rather marvelous video. I'll try and get the sound on for you as well. But we've enjoyed looking at chocolate this morning, haven't we? Where's that video gone? this morning. I'm not going until I've shown you the video. Maybe I need to refresh the page there. He's massive cocoa bean rake that gentleman's got there. There's the video. Check it out, folks, and I'll try and get the sound playing for you. Let me know if it is or it isn't. Oh, we're going to YouTube, everybody. That's all their recipes there on their channel. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to hit that subscribe button now for Melgal. And shall I just click randomly on one of these, or is there any sort of introductory one? Sobremesa de chocolat, a chef in the studio. Let's have a look at this one, shall we? We'll go to big screen and I'll play you the sound if I possibly can. Have a great day. We'll see you later on the gardening Q&A.
Olá, cá estamos para mais um Sexta à Receita. Desta vez trouxemos um bolo de chocolate de leite Piura Blanco, 48%, da Melgão, e framboesa, onde vamos utilizar um puré de fruta de rabi fruit de framboesa sem açúcar, e manjericão. Aí vamos utilizar um manjericão natural, que neste caso até está vivinho. Vamos então começar com a nossa primeira receita, que é um biscoito. O biscoito que vai servir de base para o nosso bolo. E temos aqui, então, os ingredientes para o nosso biscoito. Temos açúcar, claras, que vamos colocar na nossa batedeira da AEG. Estas nossas receitas são apoiadas pela AEG, uma parceria que nós temos com a AEG, em que temos todos os equipamentos são da AEG, porque são equipamentos que nos dão garantia de podermos trabalhar e podermos realizar as nossas receitas de uma forma adequada e bem ao jeito daquilo que nós gostamos. Por isso, é um nosso parceiro que nós respeitamos muito e com o qual nos congratulamos de ter aqui estes equipamentos na nossa pequena cozinha. Como eu estava a dizer, temos a nossa clara, temos a albumina, clara de ovo em pó, que vamos utilizar para reforçar um pouquinho o poder das claras. Colocamos a bater estes dois ingredientes de uma forma lenta, até que a albumina se dissolva.
Well, that was a bit rubbish, wasn't it? I was trying to watch it on my phone to see if it was coming out live for you, and it clearly wasn't. So you got yourselves a really nice Portuguese lesson there. And you'll have to go yourself. Let me just give you the link to the channel of Melgal, which I can't find that. Bear with me just a moment here. I'm going to find you the YouTube channel for Melgal, because that was really unkind to do to you there, to have it playing in the background. And I'll describe it to you. It was a man about to make a chocolate delight in the kitchen there. So I do apologize for that, and I will give you the site so you can go to it yourself and have a look at their delightful recipe videos and get a little bit of inspiration. So I've got that for you now. That's coming up the channel, and I will say good morning and see you later. Bon dia and logo to you, and see you on the gardening Q&A a little bit later on the channel for Melgal, going into the comments now. There you go. Yeah, thank you for being with me this morning. Smash the like button, even if that was a terrible disaster at the end there. And thank you for that. Yes, AMSR cooking. You could just hear it, but you couldn't see it. Some people like it that way, don't they? So I'll leave that on the screen for you now, and we'll go out with a whistle, as is customary, right here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Take care. Bye for now. Have a great day. Maybe see you on the gardening Q&A. Otherwise, see you tomorrow for Consumer Tuesday with Spartan and Nunu tomorrow. So Ben or Sarah from Spartan FX tomorrow. Ask them any questions about currency, and Nunu any questions about insurance tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, Consumer Tuesday here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Take care. Bye for now.